I can see this making sense from a couple of angles from PlayStation's perspective, even if it's not good news. This is more just me kind of puzzling it out. Obviously, PlayStation doesn't want to make it easy to push custom firmware to their hardware, especially with what I see is like the absolute volume of PlayStation hardware that's out there now. A lot of PS4s floating around. And if it's extremely easy to convert those all into like zombie PlayStations that can run a whole game catalog right off the hard drive without being connected to the internet, I can see why PlayStation wouldn't want that, especially in like emerging markets, you know, places like China or other countries that are starting to become these bedrocks of potential revenue. They don't want a bunch of pirated hardware and pirated software floating around and getting in the way. But I think another way it makes sense, and this is what's kind of unique for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, is that maybe you could argue it with the PlayStation 3, but really with the PS4, it's kind of the first console where you can still reach to and market the people that are using it. In the past, it was like, we make a new console, the old one is just kind of like relegated to antiquity. It becomes the domain of third-party resellers and things like that. And that only really, like, it doesn't really compete with new sales or anything like that. But if you got PlayStation 4s out there that can play a whole library of games directly from the hard drive and never need to connect to the internet, that's basically like a dead user to PlayStation. They have no way to reach them. They have no way to sell to them. They have no way to convert them to PlayStation Plus. But the hardware is there, so to Sony, that's a possible endpoint they could reach through to try and convert potential new users into being online users, into being PlayStation Plus members, into buying games on the PlayStation Network. So they have a much more vested interest, I think, in keeping older hardware secure and as a viable marketing point as we keep going forward in time. Because we talked about this before, but as older hardware theoretically gets cheaper, then that hardware finds its way into new homes that PlayStation wasn't in before. And they very much want to make sure that their marketing through line is active and alive, so that it's not a custom firmware maker that is speaking to that person's living room.